Well, my message to all of you who are maybe going through anxious times, fearful times, is live this moment to the full. Focus on your breathing. How are you breathing? Is my breathing relaxed? And am I really breathing in the present moment? And that will ground you immediately and bring you back to the present moment, because often our whole mind is focused on the past or the future and misses out the magic of the moment.
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Biesalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Reino Gevers, and I'm so happy that he's here and he said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great.
Wow.
It's great to be on your show.
It's a great day for a great interview today, and I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course. So you are an experienced Camino de Santiago pilgrim. You have walked the path over a dozen times, and you share your insights in 2 books. Originally from South Africa, you now reside in Mallorca, Spain, where you lead workshops on achieving balance, purpose, and effectiveness for individuals and organizations. Once again, welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Reino Gevers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pronounced it right. I'm always a little bit insecure about the pronunciation. And my first question is for you: how has walking the Camino de Santiago multiple times influenced your approach to balance and purpose?
Yes, I think it's the walking experience itself. When I did my first walk in 2006, I was in a pretty bad state, health-wise, mentally, physically. I was in a lot of stress work-wise. I was in a dysfunctional marriage. So I decided to walk the Camino. The very first time, I just did a short section, and I was quite impressed by the whole atmosphere of it, but I wasn't prepared really for the longer walk. So the following year, I did the whole Camino, where I was on the path for 4.5 weeks, and that really changed everything. That was really immersing into this walking experience, and it's basically realigning with your higher self when you switch off from all the distractions of the world out there. The walking is actually a very natural way we humans go about our daily life. I mean, for thousands and thousands of years, most of us humans walked from one place to the other. We walked for hours, sometimes 20, 30 kilometers a day. But the average person today in our modern world leads a mainly sedentary lifestyle, and it's leading to all sorts of health issues.
Yes, absolutely. We cannot go by car or in the past when there were no cars, of course. And I'm thinking about the nomads. You call it nomads so the people also they exist still in Mongolia or so. Yeah.
Yes, actually, you still have these ancient peoples like the Khoi Khoi and San peoples in the Kalahari Desert in southern Africa that still live this traditional lifestyle. And you have the nomads in Mongolia, as you just mentioned. But of course, we as modern humans can't go back to such a lifestyle. That wouldn't be practical. But I think we would have a lot less mental issues. We would have a lot less metabolic diseases and less cardiovascular diseases if we did more walking, which is a low impact exercise. Everyone can do it. You can do it from walking out of your doorstep, even if it's only 20 minutes a day. It makes a huge difference to how you feel, to your sense of well-being, and basically to everything related to your physical health.
Wow, thank you for reminding us 20 minutes per day. Also, the aspect of fresh air, for example, in nature, when it is possible for you. Of course, you said you started in 2006, the first time, the first Camino, and not the whole. So we don't know about the whole or a part. I know people are doing the Camino, for example, once a year for a period of time, and then they continue where they left off the year before. There are several approaches to master this path, right?
Yes, you see, most people don't have the time, or they don't have vacation for a 5-6 week period. You need about 6 weeks to do the Camino Frances from the French-Spanish border, Jean-Pierre-le-Port, to Santiago de Compostela. That's a good 500-mile journey, walking about 12 to 15 miles a day. So you need to be pretty fit. So a lot of people do this in sections. So they do a part in 1 year, and then they continue the following year. And but my experience is that you should at least take 3 weeks to do a good section, because you take a week at least to walk yourself in, to walk off old emotional issues. And then you dive deep into yourself, like in the second week. And on the third week, you're really getting into the mood and the swing of things, where your body gets adjusted to walking these long stretches every day.
Mhm. You talk about kind of forming new habits or train your body how to, yeah, like walk automatically or something, or getting used to this length.
Yes, look, the body, of course, is not used to walking 12 to 15 miles a day. And when you do such a long walk, the first stage is always detoxing mentally and physically. Like I had the experience that my body would literally smell from all the toxins it would emit from sweat and from just the sheer physical strenuous part of it. And then and the senses would gradually open as you continue the walk. Your sense of smell, your auditory sense, and your sense of sight becomes more acute. You hear the sounds of nature, and you immerse yourself more and more into nature. And what we do know from several studies is that, for instance, trees emit chemicals that reduce your stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. It's quite amazing that you actually heal when you spend time in the green and blue spaces of nature.
Wow, I love that. You mentioned immerse into nature. I would say becoming one with nature, or becoming aware of the oneness of
Yeah, yeah, indeed, Caroline. Look, we are part of nature. We of course, in our whole indoctrination, we see us as separate from nature, and a lot of it also has religious background that we are separate. Um, but we are part of nature, very much part of it. Our whole body is made up of elements from the earth. And when we die, those elements go back to the earth. So we need to reconnect and become part of Mother Nature to understand how nature functions, how nature works, and to realign, I call it realignment, with becoming and understanding that we are part of this bigger matrix, the bigger unity of where everything is interconnected.
Wow, I love that. And I have so many thoughts. So I want to share one thing at this point. No, it's like it's a confession. No, it's not a confession. So first of all, of course, I read the famous book of Paulo Coelho. He's called, right, the about the book, about the path. And also I named my youngest son. His name is Jacob. And there are two Jacobs, by the way, the younger and the older. And I insisted on this is the one, the older one. I think it's the one from the Camino, right? Yes. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
nice.
That book actually inspired me to do my first walk. I really read that book in one night and decided 2 weeks later to walk the Camino. And it was a great inspiration.
Wow. So I read it and I was not inspired. I had respect, and I have respect, to do this and all the strength and whatever. Maybe there's a wish inside. So I would ask not only about your book, because you wrote books about that, but also about the preparation period. What would you advise people who want to do this journey, so to say?
Well, I speak to a lot of people who have this wish, this bucket list of one day walking the Camino. And my advice is don't wait too long. Start with your preparations now. Read books about the Camino. Go on the internet. Check out the Camino sites, and learn about the Camino, and learn about the different routes, because there's many routes you can walk. If we go to the history of the Camino in the Middle Ages, people walked from their homes, from Poland, from Scandinavia, from England. They took boats to France and then walked all the way through France down to Santiago de Compostela. So there's a great walking tradition and in Europe going back many centuries, where this was at one point regarded as a Catholic penance. If the priest or the family decided you needed to walk off the sins of the ancestry of the family, they sent a member of the family to go walking on the Camino. So many of them, of course, died on the Camino because it was a very strenuous route, and a lot of them died from water contamination. This was the main disease in medieval times. And it was not so much the walking, the strenuous walking, because they were used to walking, but it's disease, injuries, all that made this Camino very strenuous. But today you have a village like every 5 or 6 kilometers. So there's food to eat, there's coffee you can drink. There's a pharmacy in every larger Spanish town if you should have an injury or something to get treated. And also the Spanish people are very helpful. They will assist you if you lose your way, if you have an injury or have problems. That's my experience, at least, and experience of many other people. But don't just book a flight like I did the first time. And some people still do it. I would definitely advise people to exercise, to start with small walks, at like a 25-minute day walk, and then gradually increase your fitness, so that you know what you can do. You should not overexert your body. You should have good shoes that you've worn in. Don't walk the Camino with new shoes. Take a very small, light backpack. That is an essential. You can also make use of so-called backpack services that transport your backpack from one town to the other if you find that it's too strenuous to carry your own backpack. There's many different ways of doing the Camino. You can do short sections, longer sections, but my advice is always not to overexert your body. Do as much as you can, and also choose the more quieter routes that aren't that populated, because the main Camino Frances today has about 250, 300,000 pilgrims a year, which is massive compared to the time when I walked the first time. But it just goes to show that more and more people are seeking experiential spirituality through walking.
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you about that because you talked about the stillness or the nature experience. And when I think, because it's also mentioned, there's a German book of a famous German comedian. He did this path, and I read this also. And he was in constant talk, conversation, not constant, but in conversations. There were people, and if you don't wish to have this, then you mentioned already there are other routes you can choose, right?
Absolutely. Like I really enjoyed the Camino Aragonés this year, which I walked with my partner from Oloron in France across the Pyrenees. This is a more isolated but a very scenic route, but hardly walked, even in the main summer season, we hardly met any other pilgrims walking this pathway, while there were thousands of people walking the main route. And it was a great journey. I mean, I've walked this section now the third time, and it again, every experience is different. You see different things. It's like reading a good book. You see more things the second time, the third time. You've walked the same pathway, and you say to yourself, "Well, why didn't I see that the first time?"
And it was there, but you were not aware of it. So my question would be, would you take a book with you on the Camino, or is it like
Uh,
distraction or
Well, I always took a book that I really enjoy, like a book of wise words, some poetry that I would look at during the day, or read during the day. I would take spiritual texts that I would read and immerse myself in those. And but I would really advise against using any type of electronic devices, because that obviously distracts from the now experience. I see pilgrims actually walking with headphones and or looking at their iPhones and missing some really beautiful places, missing out on some of this experience. But I wouldn't like to be judgmental. It's everyone walks the Camino from the mindset where they are at. You find people who've walked the Camino who say, well, I didn't see anything. I didn't experience anything spiritual. It was just a normal walk. And other people have a profound experience, life-changing experience.
yes, it depends on your readiness, the readiness to receive or perceive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, you take yourself with you wherever you go. And the mindset you have when walking the Camino, I think, is key. And a lot of people walk the Camino at a crucial crossroads in their life. They might have lost a loved one. They might have gone through a relationship breakup. They might have lost a job. They're in a spiritual crisis where they seeking a new direction. And sometimes the answer would not come while walking on the Camino. The answer would come several weeks, months after walking the Camino. There would suddenly be this, in my case, where there would be so much clarity of what you needed to do to change things.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm impressed, and I forgot about my other questions. Of course, we have questions. So, how do your workshops help people and organizations find greater effectiveness and alignment?
Well, what I do is I do a lot of workshops trying to spread this message of looking after yourself. And a lot of companies have not understood the human factor. There's high absenteeism, the motivation would go down. And if you dig deep into these topics during a workshop, which I would do typically with a company, you'd find that people are not being seen, they're not being heard, they're not being appreciated. There's a problem in the organization where there's a loss of vision and purpose. What do we stand for? The personal experience, the personal values often are in disalignment with the job they're doing. And if there's not a reconnection, people fall ill and they get a burnout or a bore out, but they have a crisis. And sometimes the answer is to find another job, to find a different purpose, a different meaning. In my case, I worked in the media industry. I was a journalist for over 20 years. But I found that the message that I wanted to put out there, which was to inform and educate the reader, that was getting lost all the more when the media industry got more into entertaining rather than informing and educating, and emotionalizing. There's so much emotionalizing in the media that I decided for myself that this was no longer my path. I had to do something different.
Wow, that's great. And now you can share with other people and educate them to realign to themselves. You mentioned nature. And yeah, of course, all our problems are mental in nature, I would say. And so the solutions are also, yes.
Indeed. And I think we are often so pulled away from our purpose through all these distractions, especially social media, which the main messaging from social media is stimulating your shadow, your toxic emotions, anger, anxiety, fear, and we need to realign to find our inner joy, especially the gratitude for what is at the moment. Look, if you and I have electricity, we have a roof over our head, we have clean water, we are very privileged compared to most of humanity. And just the changing of perspective and being grateful for what is changes a lot.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm blessed with our interview, of course. And I would say, yeah, thank you so much. I want to know, of course, where we can find you, where people can find you when they reach out to you after listening to this episode.
Well, you can find me on YouTube. My channel is called Living to Be, as well as my podcast, Living to Be. You can also find my website, reinogevers.com, where I have all my contact details. And I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. You can just Google my name, you'll find me there.
That's great. Thank you so much. Please reach out to Reino. He has information not many people have, and he's willing to share his wisdom. Thank you so much. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Well, my message to all of you who are maybe going through anxious times, fearful times, is live this moment to the full. Focus on your breathing. How are you breathing? Is my breathing relaxed? And am I really breathing in the present moment? And that will ground you immediately and bring you back to the present moment, because often our whole mind is focused on the past or the future and misses out the magic of the moment.
What a great message. I love this moment. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
And see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices. See you in the next episode.